What's up, everyone? This is episode 6, I think, of No Croissant, and I'm with my host, David Scrivani from Talking Tokyo.
Hello, that's
and,
me.
And Nick Huber from his
Greetings,
podcast.
everybody. Greetings, everybody. I'm from the Visionary Dawn podcast.
And I am your the true host, Chris Condi, or Chicken Man. We took a bit of a break. David was busy with his podcast. Nick was busy with the Visionary Dawn, and I was in Japan. I wish I could tell you a bunch of amazing Godzilla 1998 related stories. To be honest with you, they hate that movie there. I couldn't find anything. I found a couple cool DVDs at the Godzilla store. I went to the Awaji Island Godzilla Museum, and they had the X Plus Defa reel there. That was pretty cool. I found a Gashapon with a Zilla keychain in it, but other than that, not much. There was a few secondhand stores. They had some of the Japanese releases of the Trendmasters figures there, but I gotta say, other than those little hidden secrets, turns out they're not a big fan of the 1998 Godzilla film.
Did you wear your shirt?
Oh, I did. So for those that don't know, me, David, and Nick have designed a T-shirt. I'd love to say that we're selling it. I'm not gonna risk that though. It is a T-shirt.
Don't want the ninjas.
It is a T-shirt declaring copyright infringement, and it's inviting Toho to sue me personally. So I made a few as a joke just for the crew, and I brought one to Toho Studios and took a photo in front of the Godzilla statue.
You should have given it to Mr. Toho himself.
You should have.
I really should have. We went up to the little booth and we asked for a tour, and they were like, "No."
Not with that shirt.
But yeah, Japan was fun. We went to the Awaji Island, Godzilla statue, the one that you zip line in. We went to the Godzilla statue that's by the Tokyo Station, the one that's of Shin Godzilla. We found the original statue that used to be there. That one is inside the Toho Cinemas down the street. So we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of Godzilla stuff. We did some Ultraman stuff. We went to the Ultraman street. We went to an Ultraman museum exhibit at I think it was the Film Museum, and did go to Toei too. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I could go on about hours and hours about Tokyo, but we do have special guests today. Andrew Wong and Heisenberg, aka Tai, aka Luminous. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves, maybe Andrew first.
Hey everybody, yep, this is Andrew here, or otherwise known as G Forever on the Luminous News YouTube channel, and great to be here, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, hello everyone, this is Heisenberg, also from Luminous News. Yeah, very excited to be talking about Godzilla 1998. I was in the theater, as was G Forever. I was in the theater
Yes.
opening weekend.
Oh yeah.
So interesting thing about Andrew and Mr. Heisenberg here is me, David, and Nick. I'm not even sure if we were alive. Maybe Nick was. I don't remember.
I was a year old when the film came out.
Oh, really? Okay, so maybe just me. I wasn't even like concept when that came out. I don't think any of us saw the movie though, except for. So today, of course, I'd say the main subject of today's episode is solely about the marketing. It'll be a shorter-ish episode today because we have to do some really important stuff, such as go see the Mario movie tonight. Yahoo! Yahoo! But we not only are we talking about the marketing for Godzilla 1998, we're also here to interview Andrew and Tai on the EZhobi Omega Beast Godzilla 1998 collab. Do that though, I definitely would like to get to know a bit about both of you. So I've known both of you guys for quite a while. I'll start with Andrew, actually. So Andrew, you have, some would say that you're a casual fan of Godzilla.
Yes, just a casual fan.
You're a
But
I don't know what tipped you off based on the video he's got going on there. I couldn't say.
Yeah, just wondering.
yeah, just casual.
So your huge collection, correct me if I'm wrong, scored you a role in a kaiju film.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that was it Pacific Rim Uprising. Just a little tidbit in the end credits was pretty fun. But
So how does it feel to be a canonical character in the Uprising?
still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, nothing beats Godzilla. Like, I've been a huge fan since the age of 4, and as you can see, I kind of just stuck with it until now. And for 1998, man, that was the marketing was insane, and the middle school version of myself was like super excited to see the movie, super hyped, and yeah, just waiting in line opening day. I don't remember if I was probably waiting in line like a stood in line for an hour or something, just like super pumped.
And was Godzilla 98, it wasn't your first introduction to the monster, was it?
No. My first introduction was actually King Ghidorah, the three-headed monster in
Oh, wow.
1964. So that was my first movie, and that was actually not my very first encounter. My very first encounter is the Imperial figure, which is actually in a shelf somewhere. But the small Imperial figure was my introduction to Godzilla. And the same, so that was like I was like fighting with my sister in the toy store, and then my grandfather like, here, take this, and then I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This dinosaur has spikes on his back. And then little did I know that the same day, my father came home with that movie, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and just played it.
Wow.
And then I was all of a sudden like, whoa, like the dinosaur I'm holding in my hand is actually in the movie, and they're like fighting with other creatures, and then like I was just hooked. And then I think it was like every week or so, like my dad would just bring home a new movie on VHS tapes. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And you just like rewind,
We're not
replay,
Yeah.
yeah, just rewind and replay all the
that old.
monster scenes.
Well, before Toho bothered really, we obviously we've had most of the Showa movies on DVD for a long time, but except for like Godzilla 1984, which for some reason took like a really long time to get a VHS release.
Yeah.
Even then, those DVDs were kind of rare. They had like a short release in 2004, and then some of them became rarer than others. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla used to be super rare, so I had to watch a lot of those movies on VHS up until I just like pirated them. But
exactly, yeah, it was very hard. Like even I think it was like 98 was actually like sort of a turning point. That's when the movies started. Like Sony would start to bring some of the Heisei movies over officially. Prior to that, it was all pirated VHS bootlegs. So it's but that's what we had back then. There was like Godzilla now and Godzilla back then was completely different. It was not easily accessible. There wasn't really much out there other than I think the Trendmaster figures for a long time, and then eventually I discovered the existence of Bandai figures, and that was huge for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those are I think maybe you saw like all the Bandais I got from Japan.
Oh yeah.
I probably spent maybe like $1,000 on just Bandais.
Oh my god.
So
yeah.
But see you fading your collection off into the distance.
Yeah,
you gotta hide it.
It's too much stuff. I've been trying to sell all the stuff I don't care about anymore. But speaking of your collection, though, you're not only a Godzilla collector, you're actually helping Ultraman Connection advertise some of their products.
That is true. Yeah, I'm helping Ultraman Connection kind of introduce the character to the mostly United States, but pretty much everywhere outside of China and Japan. Because outside of Asia, Ultraman's not really well known.
Right.
The Ultraman was briefly introduced way before my time. but it kind of disappeared after like I think the early 90s. Had the privilege of seeing Ultraman Towards the Future, aka Ultraman Great, on TV. But after that, it was, I think Ultraman Tiga made it to Fox 25 with a terrible dub. Great show, but the dub was just horrendous.
I think Ultra 7 was aired in Hawaii too,
possibly,
like years ago. Years ago.
So but yeah, there was not much not much exposure to Ultraman in the West compared to Asia. So, but now I think times have changed with the rise of tokusatsu, and it's really great to see that Tsuburaya is opening up to more international audiences, and the huge push for YouTube, and especially the website ultramanconnection.com, trying to be, that's kind of like the goal is to make it like the one stop shop for Ultraman, all things Ultraman. And hopefully the real goal is trying to make it like the if you've seen the YouTube videos, there's like a streaming service which is Tsuburaya Imagination. So I think there's a push to try to get that to the US through Ultraman Connection. So pretty exciting times, because now it's much easier to access get access to all these cool shows and movies, and even like the products like these figures. It's much easier nowadays than before.
Yeah, the YouTube stuff's been a game changer. I'm actually like keeping up with watching Ultraman shows for the first time of my life. I started with Ultraman Z. I've been keeping up ever since, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, and Ultraman Z is top notch. Like for the I guess they call it the Reiwa era. So it's really good, and I don't know if you caught the news. I think they're trying to dub it. It'll be the first.
I did see that. Yeah,
first English dub Ultraman show since Tiga.
Wow,
and I think Nick's Nick, you're pretty big on Ultraman too, right?
Yeah, I love Tiga.
Awesome.
One of the things I was going to add is that that's really some exciting news, and I'm honestly looking forward to it. And thank God the days of watching Ultraman on Daily Motion is over. If you get my reference on that one.
Yeah.
So so you must work with Danny Simon or Jeff Gomez too, then, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mostly with Jeff.
Yeah. I worked with them a very long time ago. I helped with the first Ultraman Day, which but no,
early stages, step at a time.
They're good people. They
are.
They what I like about them, and especially Jeff too. Jeff grew up with Ultraman, like he loves Ultraman. Yes. And Danny's just like a good dude too. He produced like the Mortal Kombat movie. It's cool. So no, I think it definitely had a rocky start. I think they had some very questionable like licensing, because at the beginning they seem more concerned with just giving the license to whoever. It's just that, you know what I mean? So yeah. I think it's starting to really shape up. They finally kind of understand what they're doing. Like Super Ride is even helping, like, and giving them like helping them bring some of their content to the American audience, like Seven Deer Fight and all that. Yep. So it's pretty cool, and I think it was the right move to bring the animes to Netflix. They have like the shows on Tubi now, and of course Shin Ultraman aired.
Shin Ultraman was a big push. Yeah.
So they're I'm really liking what they're doing, and of course the Marvel comics is a big one.
Yeah, they pushed that a lot. I think that was like Jeff's big project. Yeah, and there's a huge crossover. I think it's this year. With the Avengers. So.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, yeah. Jeff's a good guy. He when we did do the Ultraman Day thing, he did out of like we had a whole nice segment like with just an interview with him. So that was a whole lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you work with EJ, or was that before? Was that too long ago?
The name doesn't ring a bell. EJ.
Okay. Yeah. He might be somewhat newer. But he's
Right.
a great resource. He knows like the Showa films, like pretty much all the films from before to current.
Right.
So it's a good team because like Jeff is more, I would say, more into the Showa stuff, and then
Yeah.
I was kind of introduced like mid show, like the trail end of Showa and the Heisei generation,
Yeah.
and now the new generation. So I've been pretty much like caught up from like Tiga to the current, but like some of the old stuff I need to like go back and watch.
Yeah, I've always been a Showa Ultraman guy. I mean I caught up with Z a little bit, but people would, when I was more involved with that community during that time, people would like ask me about like some random F Ultraman character from like I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I only know the character. I'm more familiar with like OG 1966
yeah,
Ultra 7 and Ultraman era
yeah,
and stuff. So, but but not only are you involved with Ultraman, you are involved with Omega Beast, which
yeah. EZhobi.
is EZhobi the company, and Omega Beast is the line, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
So,
EZhobi is the company that Kan Lin created, and
and I want
he's
to ask
also the
about
sculptor. Yep.
right. So I want to ask about K.N. Lin. I didn't know if he was an employee of EZhobi or if he was the creator, but I also know he's the sculptor and he's also sculpting the
Yes.
upcoming Zilla. So,
Yes. Godzilla.
oh, Godzilla. I'm sorry.
1998. Yep.
So
Yeah. So they.
I'm gonna ask you a little bit about that too, a little
Sure.
bit.
Yeah.
But just want to talk about Omega Beast real quick and
Sure.
talk to Ty, and then we'll go back into EZhobi. So I just want to ask though, how'd you get in the work with EZhobi?
Yeah, so it's pretty much like as you probably know, like I've been in the game for so long. I've been like trying to hunt around all these like rare and hard to find stuff. This is like way before X Plus had their own like Shonen Rick website where you can order direct. You would have to go for a third party mostly. Mike Johnson might that name might ring a bell for a lot of X Plus collectors. So for EZhobi, it was very hard to find a contact and actually like try to get their stuff. So their first product was a Shin Godzilla, not this one, but the Heat Raising version, and then the Awakening version that came out after. And that they were super duper limited, like 300 pieces, and you had to like get in line and get like a ticket. And I don't know if you saw our video. There was
gangsters.
there was a gangster in line, and somebody like rubbed them the wrong way, and there was like a fight. Police were involved, and it was crazy. So I got a contact like in Taiwan and asked like, oh, do you think you can help me get one of these? And he actually knew K.N. Lin pretty well, so he introduced me to him, and kind of exchanged some information. And since the licensing is in Taiwan only, I figure like I'm going through all this trouble just to get one for myself. How about I help out the community? Like let's all order together and we can like get it to the US and then kind of like distribute it to other collectors that want this stuff. So that's kind of how I got pulled in, and it's a lot of fun. Like I enjoy getting all these cool looking sculptures of Godzilla, different versions, and it's really fun. And Godzilla 1998 is one of the upcoming projects, which is pretty exciting because we don't have too many 98 like kind of like the super detailed versions. Like I think we have mostly the Trendmasters. I think YMSF has like a 6-inch figure, and what else is there? There's like a 4-inch Bandai like trading figure, and
there's like the one X Plus Defo reel as well.
And yes, that's right. The Defo reel, which I have up there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but backing up, K.N. Lin was a sculptor for other companies.
Correct.
In the past. So so he's done work. He's sculpted for I think some companies in Japan.
Yes.
So K.N. Lin is
A1 Toys or something.
Yeah. K.N. Lin himself is based in Taiwan. And then it was actually we first noticed it. We were trying to track down like toys when Godzilla 2019 was coming out, and one thing that sort of appeared like online were pictures of these like minifigures of based on Godzilla 2019, and they were called these Eggman figures,
Like
and we managed to find them. Yeah, we managed to find someone in Hong Kong selling them online. So we got those sets, and to our surprise, once they arrived, it's like, my word, they were so good. Especially like side by side with like Bandai's minifigures, they just really stood out. They made our top 10 list of like the best Godzilla toys for that year. And it was after that, and actually, it's like unbeknownst to us, like I guess the word got back to Can Lin again. So Can Lin started EZhobi; it's his company, uh, uh, and yeah, the word got back to him that we had reviewed these and liked them. So that helped us get in contact with him later.
Yeah.
But but after these Eggman figures, then he started this Omega Beast line, which is gigantic sized. It's starting with Shin Godzilla, and and again, of course, that's when the company has really taken off. Like those gigantic Omega Beast figures have been like so popular, and then he's got a lot of other series. He's got lots of other series of figures now too, and more things, and a lot of stuff in the works.
Yep. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, and yeah, his works are different. Like the material that he uses, the paint, it's really cool. It really brings the character out. I think his style of the characters is more like motion, like more like as you see on not everyone can see, but like you guys can see that like this Furious Blue, he's like kind of in the attack pose. This Shin Godzilla is kind of like roaring. And then this alpha one, he's kind of like in a battle damage, and he's like challenging I guess Mecha Godzilla or Kong in this case. So it's not like a static character. It's more like he's in motion. He's like kind of bring the character to life, and it really shows when you see it in person. Like the lighting on the paint reflects really well. You don't even need a light up. Like just the light reflecting off of Godzilla, it looks like his fins are glowing, or in Shin Godzilla's case, his body is glowing, which we've never really seen that to that extent.
His figures really stand out, both not only because of the sculpting. The sculpting really stands out, but also the materials that he uses are also like these really outstanding materials that we haven't seen other companies use. So so the finished product really do really are quite striking. I think the best thing he's done to date, that in my opinion, is the the Omega Beast Furious Red Shin Godzilla, with a lot of, which is like largely translucent, and it's just it's just it's just wonderful.
Is it kind of translucent like that new S.A. Monster Art Shin?
I ordered it, but I don't have that one in hand yet, so I can't say for sure. But
I saw that one in Japan. It's beautiful. Not to go on a tangent, but I was like, that's my first vibe. I was like so shocked by like the plastic's transparent, and then it's like this red paint underside. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think the material, like the newer stuff, is definitely a huge improvement from the original releases.
Right. This is a rhetorical question, but just for the audience, these are Mega Beast toys. They're officially licensed, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. This is more a question for me. So, do you work with a Mega Beast? Were you employed, or do you like represent them in a way, or
no? I'm just kind of more like just helping them. I'm kind of collecting myself and just helping the community. So I do like administer the Omega Beast group and try to like when Kaenlin has when he shares some information with me, and when he gives me the green light, I'll post it to the group. But
that's the Facebook group.
That's the Facebook group. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group called, what is it called? Omega Beast group.
Yes. Yep.
And it's not just Omega Beast, it's anything that EZhobi comes out with.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So I just help them. I don't actually work for them. I'm not employed for them.
Right.
So it's more like I'm a collector, and I'm just helping other collectors out there.
You're like a hype man, basically.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
He's the messenger.
We're fans.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're fans. So we're like, we're fans that are collecting and following the company. And basically, that's what it amounts to.
So let's talk about Ty. We'll go right back to easy novels. So Ty,
Hello, hello.
I runs the channel Luminous along with Andrew, where they review Godzilla toys. And
Yeah.
And what I love about Luminous, you guys' channel, I watch you guys all the time. I love how not only do you appreciate, and review like the average, like Godzilla toys, the Bandai stuff, you guys go out of your way to track down all the American merchandise as well, which is the more accessible stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the American stuff, like the Playmates and, the toy, like the Jack specific toys, I feel like those are very overlooked in this kind of collector's space. So I really love the coverage of those products, in particular.
Oh yeah. Like I said, it's Luminous. Yeah, it's a YouTube channel called named Luminous, though I tend to refer to it as Luminous News. Best way to find it is to search YouTube for Luminous News, and then it comes up. And then you see, when you see Godzilla and you see a guy like, dressed up as like Heisenberg, then you found it. But yeah, I'm actually late in recent years, I'm more excited by like just the the normal toys, like the toys that are actually meant for kids and sold in stores like Target and Walmart, since they're so much more affordable. And some of them are really great. It's like, so often we try to come up with like the best toys of the year each year, and I usually for me it is something like a Playmates toy or something close to it, because I want an actual toy that's easy to get and not too expensive. So yeah, I just wish Playmates made it easier to find them. It can be quite a chore. Often we end up like buying them on eBay at like exaggerated prices, just because I'm so eager to actually get it and review it.
Well, that's less the problem of, the suppliers and more the problem of people want to scalp and make more money off of them than what they're worth.
And
I remember when they were first, like the first wave of Playmates. I was like, I was determined. I wanted to show them all. I wanted to have a video where it's like I want to show them all, and I was just like searching. I was driving like every day, multiple times a day. I was
Different
driving
Walmarts.
to every Walmart in the state. And it's like at some point I was like, okay, too much time is going by. I think it's almost time to give up. And then I thought I'd had them all, and then all of a sudden like three more of them appeared online, like pictures. It's like, oh no, there's even more of them. And then it's like, okay, this is good enough. Finally, I was like, okay, this is good enough. We'll just make our video. And I made one last stop to my local store, just in my town, and they had the last ones that I was missing.
Wow!
So we were actually able to do a video where we showed all of them, and I was very happy about that.
Yeah. So oh, sorry, Nick.
I was at a similar store. I went to like 5 Walmarts just to find Mechagodzilla.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, the
was
Gigan. I really like that Gigan from the first wave. I think the
Final
Gigan
Wars
was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
the Final Wars Gigan, and that was one of the harder ones to find too. It's like I think I only found in all those trips to the stores, I only found one.
Just one. I think that one was the harder one to find. It was like one per box or something.
That one was warming my Target shelf for a while. It was calling my name, and I was like, nope. But I did find the other ones, like the Ultima Godzilla and stuff. So
oh,
that's
nice.
Thing,
that one was hard to get too.
That one was.
I didn't even know they did
I was about
Ultima.
to like cry. I couldn't find it, and then I saw it and along with the Hot Wheels. I was like, holy shit!
Oh,
just
wow.
that one.
Yeah,
So
there was
I
that
got
one. Because I didn't. My friend found it, and he texted me. Were you looking for this? I'm like, yeah, I've been looking for it the whole month. And he's like, oh, I left the store. I'm like, damn. I'm like, go back and get it.
Go back.
Yeah, go back.
And that's another thing too that I think that that makes me like you guys a little bit more. So Andrew Heisenberg and David, we're all Massachusetts K fans, which is there's dozens of us.
There actually is
we have a whole
quite
Facebook group.
Yeah.
So so and because of that, I actually met Andrew when Shin Godzilla came out, and then Ty, I believe the first time I met him was at Rhode Island Comic Con. I want to say 2015, and I was like 15 years old, and he handed me a bag of blue candy.
That sounds like him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And my
yeah,
mom was like,
sample.
"Don't eat that. What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Mom, you need to watch Freaking Bad." But
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Rhode Island comic. It might have been. It's like there was also the that was the year the kaiju year at Anime Boston.
Yes.
right.
Yep.
So I don't know if so I met some Godzilla fans at Anime Boston.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Ty too. He, for the longest time, he was kind of like what is it, like the Bill Murray of my life? Like he would just show up in my life. I went to PAX, he was there. I went to Anime Boston, he was there. and that leads me into the next thing I want to bring up. Ty is an awesome photographer.
Oh yeah, I got a really nice picture of you. I remember, and one of your friends at Anime
Yeah.
Boston. Yeah, at Anime Boston, there's like this. The best place to take pictures is like the top floor because it has all the biggest windows. But then not against the regular wall. You have to go into the stairwell because the stairwell has a white wall instead of this really ugly like yellow wall.
Right.
And and so you got to stand there, but then you got to be fast because the staff will come because you're in the stairwell. They don't want people standing in the stairwell because it's a fire hazard. So you got to be quick and like try to take a photo. But yeah, I got a great picture of Chris there, looking very happy.
Yeah. Anime Boston is awesome. I'll be there this weekend. But yeah, it is this weekend. Yeah, I have in my notes. It goes by Heisenberg and hands out meth at cons.
Yeah. I haven't given out the free sample. I've actually stopped going to conventions as Heisenberg just because sort of like the show. Well, actually, we might it's like if you do it every time, it like gets old.
Well, the show's more popular than ever now.
Oh yeah. But the show, Actually, when I first did it was when it was I first went to a con as Heisenberg like during I think the second to last season when the show was at its peak popularity.
Right.
And I got the rock candy because what they actually use in the show for meth is rock candy. So I got the rock candy and I got the little bags so I could put it in the little bags to give out as free samples. So everybody was really excited to the fact that I was there as Heisenberg. But yeah, I've kept it up. I've kept it up on the YouTube channel. Just I did it on YouTube because Bryan Cranston is in Godzilla 2014, and those were the first Godzilla toys that I was reviewing. So it's like, oh, okay. It's like okay, let's review. So it's like I'm Heisenberg and I'm in Godzilla 2014. So let's review the toys.
Yeah. So I always wondered why you went as Heisenberg, and well, now I've seen the show, so I have a bigger appreciation for that costume now. But
I'm kind of hoping, I don't know, I haven't heard any accounts of it. I'm hoping that there's some Godzilla fans out there that only know about Heisenberg from my videos that have never seen or heard of Breaking Bad.
I think there were a few from the comments.
Yeah. At some point they'll reach the age where they'll start watching Breaking Bad, and then just one day Heisenberg will, Mr. White
it'll click in their head.
Yeah, Mr. White will just suddenly put on the hat and call himself Heisenberg, and it's like, oh, that's where it comes from.
Oh, lady, get a grip, we're going.
Nick, what the fuck? Your microphone's so randomly jagged today. Would you like to?
You guys still can't hear me?
No. Now it's fine.
Do you guys hear me now?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah, you're fine now.
Okay. I was doing my best Captain Gordon impression. I said Ozagi, get a grip. It's time to cook.
There we go. Now
nice.
we got the bit.
Oh my god. All right. So now let's go back to EZhobi, and then we can go into the marketing for the last, I think, 30 minutes after that. So the main reason why Andrew and Ty are here is so they can tell us about EZhobi Omega Beast and maybe sell some toys. So this is a company that right now is in the shadows of X Plus, I think, and I would love if more people knew about it because the products EZhobi has been making is insane.
Have you seen any in person yet, Chris?
Not in person yet, not yet.
Yeah, you gotta get in your car. Okay, let's end the podcast now and get in your car and head over to G Forever.
All right, I'm stopping recording right now.
He can show you. Like I think he's got them all.
Hopefully next time. I've never visited his house before, but
yeah,
you know, I think he's like an hour away from me.
Yeah,
so
roughly an hour.
It's like hard to like find an excuse to be there at the same time, and yeah. So Omega Beast is famously going to do Godzilla 1998, and they announced it right after Spiral Studios announced their Godzilla 1998 or their Zilla, which people were very upset about because Spiral Studios named their Godzilla 98 Zilla. Andrew, it seems that Omega Beast is clapping back with getting the proper licensing. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I can't share too much details, but they did go out of their way to I think they opened an office in Japan, and they were able to because I think my understanding is there's a classic Godzilla line and then of a license, so you can get everything up to like 1954 to 2004. And then you would need to get Shin Godzilla separately, Ultima Singular Point separately, and I think Earth separately. And Godzilla 1998 is also a separate license. So it would make sense if you don't want to spend the extra money, if you already have, and also the legendary stuff is separate. So if you already have the classic license, it makes sense you would use Zilla. But K.N. Lin didn't want to use Zilla because he wanted to have the full name, because it's like he wants to make that character from that specific movie. So he went out of his way and got the license for the Godzilla 1998. So
that's amazing, and it seems like a really trivial thing, but people were pretty upset about it.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's nothing new, because if you the most recent example is the Flying Hedorah, right? X Plus had one, Mezco had one, SX Monster Arts had one. They all just popped up around the same time.
Yeah,
and so it's just, I'm not sure if it's like something like Toho says, hey, let's make Flying Hedorah this year. Hey, let's make 1980. I don't really know that part. Like that's a little beyond me. That's more on the company's end of things. But from what I've seen over the years, I've noticed that though. Like if you look at NECA and Monster Arts, a lot of the times there's like 1954, and then Monster Arts will have one. I think GMK, and then all of a sudden NECA would put out one. So it seems to, it's not new, I feel. But
I think
perhaps like these
with the 62 Godzilla too, for
King
Kong versus Godzilla.
Exactly. Yeah, 1962.
I don't know who announced theirs first, but it was definitely like within the first couple of months.
But I suppose
exactly.
The reason why people were upset about it was because I've heard people say naming it Zilla is like disrespectful, which seems pretty silly because it's not a real character. But at the same time, I kind of get it because, you know, that's Godzilla 9080 is a product that, regardless how you feel about the movie, there's a lot of hands in that movie, and there was a lot of people that worked on the monster itself, and they put in a lot of effort to make that monster as good as it was.
Yes.
So Zilla, the name Zilla was always kind of supposed to be like it was always supposed to kind of be disrespectful because it was like they took the god out of Godzilla. So
yeah,
I get that, like reducing like the entire monster and all the work that's been put into it by reducing it as like basically, guys, this is the shittier Godzilla. I get why that does sound kind of petty and disrespectful. So I do appreciate EZhobi going into the extra effort just to properly title it. Especially since it's clearly based off the Godzilla 98 design and not the Zilla Final Wars design.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Talked about how distinct? Well, I think you guys may have talked about that already, but are they very distinct? Godzilla 1998 and Final Wars.
Yeah, so Zilla was they scanned the Trendmaster's Ultimate Godzilla, and then I think they maybe some tweaks for the CGI model, and then that's why it's a little different.
Okay, so is there an expected release date? Probably, maybe a time for an announcement that you guys can tease for us, or Isn't that
So
all
we
still
do,
kind of
yeah.
up in the
So
air?
what I've heard, that EZhobi and X Plus are in good relationships. They met in Japan recently, and there are some talks like stay tuned around the May 19th time frame. There might be some news
From
coming out
the release
fairly
date for
soon.
98.
Yeah. Yeah, so like kind of tie in with
25th
the
anniversary,
25th anniversary.
I don't
So
know.
it won't be the release date, but maybe we'll have some news, maybe a
Right.
pre-order info or something, like maybe the full reveal of the sculpture. So
Do you have
yeah, well,
in your opinion, do you know anything about like the scale or maybe even the price, seeing as how you've bought quite a few of items from them so far? Would you
yeah.
have any insight
So
about the price?
let's talk about the scale first. The scale is going to be in the well, it'll be like a gigantic scale.
Okay.
So probably like I don't know how tall are these guys. These guys, Godzilla will be slightly smaller than Shin Godzilla and Legendary Godzilla. So I want to say probably it's going to be around like probably right around like the 15-inch frame. But he Kanan likes to make things in scale, or at least as close as possible, so that it's not like, you don't have like a huge giant 1998 Godzilla and then Shin Godzilla's tiny. He tries to keep everything inconsistent within the lines.
Yeah,
So
the idea is, but yeah, if you were standing and like, so the Shin is about what, about 20 inches tall,
roughly
like
20 inches.
Mega Beast. So yeah,
Yeah,
so the idea is if
if he
so,
was standing upright or
presumably, if
something.
Godzilla 1998 were standing upright in the same manner, that he would also be about yeah, roughly about 20 inches tall. But yeah, but obviously in the movie, he's not always standing the same way that Shin Godzilla stands.
Yeah. And the price range, while it hasn't been revealed yet, he did mention it'll be since it's like a smaller like a smaller character, it'll be I'm guessing it's probably going to be similar to the Gamera release, because Gamera was smaller than the Legendary and the Shin Godzilla. So I guess it's going to be probably like, I don't know, like hopefully around the I would say probably under 800. So
Okay.
And there's also the big question of like, will the licensing allow us to buy it directly? Which we have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Because most of the stuff from not everything, but most things from EZhobi are only licensed to be sold in Taiwan, and that's where G Forever has been trying to help out fans. So it's like, yeah, so he has a contact. Well, he'll try to buy, since he's buying one for himself, he'll try to like through a friend in Taiwan, he'll try to like buy some extra ones, then have them shipped over, and then to Massachusetts, and then he can like sell them to fans in turn. But then you're going through but because of those extra steps, that can, unfortunately, they can add a lot to the price, because of these things are so big, the shipping costs is not trivial.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you've seen the boxes. They're ginormous.
Yeah.
It's like much bigger than the X Plus gigantic box, and they put a lot of like sometimes I sometimes feel overkill, but but the box art is beautiful in the internal box, and then the high dense foam, it really protects the figures.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're packaged very well. Both it's a pretty box, and also it's like very the figures are kept very very
safe.
secure.
Yeah.
Even though they've like been shipped from the other side of the world, they've arrived fine.
Yeah, and they're also the figures are much more solid than the X Plus figures.
Oh, really?
I think they fill it up with some, I'm guessing, like some sort of foam or something. So it has a lot of weight to it. So it actually feels feels like you're getting your money's worth.
Because I know one of the things that shocked me the first time, I remember the first time I ever held an X Plus, and I was like, this is light, which isn't a bad thing. But it was surprising.
Another fun detail Chief Ever can talk about is like, what's nice about Lin, I think, is that he actually sculpts things physically. So he'll start with like clay, and sculpt it out in clay, and then actually do a physical sculpture as opposed to just doing something virtual on a computer.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and he's also a fan himself, so he's not really. I think for him, he owns the factory, so for him, it's more like it's more like a project for him. It's not really for business. So he's just enjoying the characters, making the sculptures to his style. So I think he wants to like it's more like for his own personal like art. So he hosts like the art exhibitions in Taiwan and mainland China.
Does he even have like really any employees? Like, is he doing like all the graphics himself on the boxes? Is he like?
From my understanding, I think he is. It's nickname. He's nicknamed the one man army. So it is cool. Yeah. So I actually assist him. Like sometimes he shares like some of the pre-box art and like, wait, the English is like, you should change that. And so
there's been some fun. Yeah, there's been some fun typos in some of the early boxes.
Let me give him some designer insight. I did want to ask. I know he isn't like X Plus. I know this is kind of like an X Plus thing, but I did want to ask. Is there any chance that maybe sometime he'll, maybe I'm not too familiar with how like how his company works, but is there any chance like there'll be any bonuses, like maybe like lights or like maybe like some little babies or something like that?
Yeah, they're actually every figure has bonuses. It's actually really cool. Like this Godzilla, it's just a magnetic arm, so you can switch the pose out. The other arms are on the other side, but you can switch the arms out. I think some of them you can switch the heads out. They have like fire breaths. King Ghidorah's skull was a pretty cool one, and I think the upcoming ones like Kong has tons of accessories like battle axe, different heads, different arms. Mechagodzilla has the proton scream, and there's a lot of neat accessories. So and I did hear that which one was it? Space Godzilla. I think he's gonna put the LED lights in the shoulders and also
cool.
the crystal.
Oh, that's
my
awesome.
God.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm amazed by that one. Dare I say that one might actually be cooler than the 98 one. I like the.
Yeah, to date he's mainly had like a small figure as an extra. Like for the shins, it's been an extra like dorsal fin, like an extra dorsal fin that's separate that you can like display.
Yeah. And some of them glow in the dark, which is pretty cool.
Is that true?
Yeah,
really? Some of the extra dorsal plates.
Dorsal plates, yeah, like the blue, and I think the red
big figures.
Yeah, I think the red one. Yeah, I think the two. Actually, I think they all glow.
Yeah, but to date, I don't think he's put lights in any of the figures. So
no,
it's interesting if he's thinking about doing it for the first time with Space Godzilla.
Yeah, so like for him, he feels like his like the paint that he has, it reflects the light, so you don't really need a light up. But I think there's been, he's been hearing like some feedback from the from fans, like people are saying, oh, is there some customs, like people like would do them customs on the blue and the red, and they put like lights in them and it look pretty cool. So I think he's going to experiment with the LED lights for Space Godzilla.
Yeah, the way the light reflects off his figures is like really cool. Like especially again, like and I think it works best on Furious Red Shin Godzilla.
Right.
That again, it's like that's another example of like the materials that he used really stand out.
Because I was thinking it would be pretty cool if this release came with like some eggs or like some babies or even like a little Nick or a taxi or something. Like,
yeah,
that'd be incredible.
Yeah, well, I mentioned to him like we got some ideas. I think the Baby Godzilla is one of the top winning choices. So we'll see soon.
Well, the baby Godzilla was
You need to have a pile of fish with them too.
That was another recommendation. Pile of fish.
That way I can say that I have an X plus pot, like a lot of fish.
Oh my
I can say I
god,
have the X plus lot of fish. Yeah.
dude. But yeah, you're gonna have to make a whole accessory pack at that point because the babies are probably like one of the more overlooked Toho monsters. I think back then they technically shared like a copyright with Baby Godzilla, like from
They did.
the Heisei.
Correct.
But that particular incarnation is very overlooked. I know.
Yes.
I think the last toy they ever got of that was the X Plus Defo Real.
Defo Real. Yep.
Yeah. So. But yeah. So is there any other final thoughts about the EZhobi? We're kind of tight on time, so I want to move on to the marketing.
Sure.
For the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, I personally love them. Like the poses, the materials that he uses, and for King Ghidorah 2019, he was talking about using military grade
oh my god
ABS and like, geez,
oh my
like
god.
is this wing like bulletproof or something? I don't know. So,
yeah,
and he's also, and not only just like high-end materials, he's also, I think he takes safety into consideration. So he has like a stainless steel skeleton within King Ghidorah to help support the weight. And also the tips of the wings, it's going to be like a softer material. So you don't like, if you bump into it, you don't like stab yourself and bleed out. So
yeah, my advice is to start saving your money now. And again, the hope is there'll be some sort of announcement. What is it? around May 19th.
Yeah.
And if it turns out we can buy it directly, like people in the United States can buy it directly, buy it immediately, because all this stuff sells out.
So, yeah.
Right.
I'm not
and
surprised,
again, it's like
yeah.
People line, and again, it's like that in Taiwan where you can buy it in person. People come with tents and line up before line up very early, and sometimes fights break out. So this is so be ready.
So how much is the shipping kind of bad? I don't want to say bad, but
shipping is bad.
It is bad.
These things are big.
These things are big.
Yeah.
See, if you see the figures, try to think like half a human size box.
Man.
So shipping is a little painful.
So
luckily, I think he noticed that for the Furious Red. So I think he for the future ones, he's going to try to eat some of the cost himself. So hopefully that'll help out fellow collectors.
This guy is a legend. Dude, he needs a very long vacation after this.
Yeah, it's funny. Like even on his business trip, he just found like I don't know if you saw the recent post. He just found a room and he started sculpting like the GMK Godzilla. I'm like, geez, dude, like just take a break, man.
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to ask. So, could you plug where is the best place to keep up with this information and EZhobi?
Yeah, I think two places would probably be the Facebook Omega Beast group. So facebook.com/groups/Omega Beast. And then you can also check out both the Luminous News YouTube channel and also my YouTube channel at G Forever. So we usually try to keep the news up to date on those three sources.
Awesome. So for the last 23 30-ish minutes, we'll talk about what we're really great for.
All right.
Size doesn't matter, guys. So the Godzilla 1998 marketing, it's still probably one of the more expensive Godzilla films ever. It's still probably even like one of the highest grossing Godzilla films ever. I think it's even pretty sure it made more money than any of the MonsterVerse movies did too. Was it worth it? It didn't make as much money as Sony was hoping for. That's
because they spent so much on the marketing.
Yeah, and with the critic reviews, they just decided to cancel it altogether. I think it had a very good opening weekend, but it barely broke it was still like top 10 like highest grossing movies of that year. but they were like hoping this was gonna be like a like a like a real success, like I'm talking
Avengers level.
like yeah,
Well, I
like
think
Avengers Avatar level.
They wanted they wanted to beat Independence Day. That's how big they
Yeah,
wanted.
Mhm.
right.
yeah, I think they were hoping it would be a hit like Jurassic Park, and then I think the Jurassic World sequel had come out like shortly before that. So certainly they were acting that way. They were it's like the the marketing was so intense.
Yeah, and another thing, you I don't know if this helped the marketing or hurt the marketing. I thought it was very interesting, but you'll find out later how this kind of did they kind of shot themselves in the foot here. But Roland Emmerich insisted that Godzilla never be shown up until the movie's release. That resulted in very iconic campaign billboards like and buses, and like his foot's as big as his butts or his head is as big as his billboard. Those were all around New York City and Times Square back then in 98, 97. But the problem with that was the toys and a lot of the products and marketing material had to be pushed back. So, Trendmasters, there was a delay with all their sales, and I don't know if that contributed to their closing, but it wasn't very pleasant either. By the time those toys came out, and they did sell well, but they probably could have sold a hell of a lot more had they come out before the movie came out, which is how most movie tie-in toys get released. So
yeah, and keeping him a secret, I think, did backfire. It's like, again, as a Godzilla fan, it's like it's like the first teaser was like was fun. It's like, again, it's, I guess, as you may have talked about already, that first teaser trailer came out in 1997 with Men in Black, and I was there. I was in that theater too. It's like, okay, we're watching the trailers for Men in Black, and like, okay, here's a trailer. It's like, oh, we're looking at a T-Rex, skeleton in a museum. That's cool.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, there's a pounding noise. What's going to happen? And of course, his foot comes through. Godzilla's foot comes through, and it's like, okay, the reveal at the end. Oh, Godzilla. And I think that was like, and the audience cheered when I was there, like for that. I think the anticipation was, it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be, it's like people enjoyed Independence Day, and certainly people really loved Jurassic Park. And the thought was like, oh, here's like going to be a really fun Godzilla movie. It's going to be, fun like Jurassic Park, but Godzilla is so much bigger. It's even going to be that much more fun. So there's all this hype, but then they didn't show it. And so like when the movie finally came out opening weekend, it's like, oh boy, I was there, and we're all excited there. Well, okay, we're going to see the movie now. And of course, what we see, and unfortunately, I'd read about this. It's like, what we see is, unfortunately for me, it's like, okay, well, that's not Godzilla. That looks like a giant animal. And that's one of the articles I read about the movie. Like, I think and ahead of time, unfortunately, I don't remember where I read that. I haven't been able to find it before this podcast. Was that, okay, the bakers, I read this one article, they were being interviewed. They said, oh yeah, we're fans of like the 1950s, like giant, basically giant animal movies, where it's like, because of radiation, some like small animal became giant size. Like there was a giant tarantula or a giant ant or a giant praying mantis. And it said, oh, okay, and what's the best, giant, monster is Godzilla. But I'm watching this movie, and in the opening scenes, what are they showing? They're showing lizards, and they're showing lizards, and then they're showing an A-bomb go off. And the implication seems to be, it's like, oh, basically what we're seeing here is like a regular lizard that got exposed to an A-bomb test and became gigantic sized. And to me, it's like, that's okay. That's not Godzilla. It's like, that's can be fun in its own way, but it's like, this is not Godzilla. It doesn't have Godzilla's personality. So I was kind of and it certainly like didn't quite look like Godzilla.
Yeah,
so, but then in the movie, like, again, as we're watching, it's like, okay, what are we seeing? We're seeing like reporters. We're seeing a young blonde reporter like trying to like make a name for herself, and it's like, and I remember quite clearly there was a guy sitting in the row in front of me, just kind of at one point he just kind of shook his head and said, this is not the movie. Which was kind of our feeling.
This is not
which was basically the feeling was, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to get Jurassic Park, but it's even going to be bigger and better. It's going to be so much fun. and it just wasn't the fun. It wasn't that fun. I think part of it too was that back then it's like the 90s is when not only Jurassic Park came out, but also like movies like Pulp Fiction. And it seemed like for people my age, we really liked those like grittier movies, sort of like grittier movies. And then and also this Godzilla 1998 seemed like it's like, even though it was PG-13, it seems like it's kind of like on a, like a family, seemed to be kind of like on a family level. It's not really all that. It's not very terribly gritty of a movie.
Yeah, and
But I don't know what Chief Forever thought when he was sitting in the theater.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole marketing was amazing. Like I remember seeing, it was a New Year's Eve when the ball drop, they had the commercial. I was like, oh my God, like that was amazing. That like they made it very real. I mean, it was like maybe like a minute earlier before the actual ball drop, but that was really cool, and I think that was probably the most memorable part for me. And then of course every time I see the movie trailer of Godzilla's foot stepping on a T-Rex skeleton, that was fun. But I had concerns because the foot looked like a T-Rex, and but I was like still was hoping, hoping. But when I first saw the reveal on the screen, I'm like, all right, let's see. And then there's no fire breath, and then he only took a few hits from the missiles, and he was gone. So that was, for me, it was really disappointing. But I gave it a few watches in the theater, like tried to open up to it, and yeah, it just didn't do it for me for Godzilla. It wasn't the Godzilla I knew. So
you're right. I believe our friend Christine Chapin, she told me that she cried in the theater and yelled, "That's not Godzilla."
Well, wasn't she a front runner to be on this episode too?
Yeah, and just when the EZhobi stuff came out, it was like, as much as I'd love to have her on, there's kind of like too many cooks in the kitchen right now. But I think we'll probably have her on later down the road.
Yeah, she's cool. We met up with her before with the Takaradas.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. But yeah, so that because for me,
so I think that did backfire. Yeah, like I said, that's like let's not show Godzilla. Like I think that did backfire. It's like, and it was so hyped, and it was
very hyped.
It wasn't just the giant billboards too.
Right.
It's like I followed a lot of entertainment news at the time, like movie news, and like every movie like magazine and like TV shows, or like any entertainment news show was like talking about the movie. Now actually one of the like morning like TV shows I saw where they were talking about the merchandise for the movie. They said that there's over 1,000 pieces of merchandise for the movie, and then they showed a few examples.
Oh, and Taco Bell, that was also a big thing.
Yeah, so Taco Bell, I believe Taco Bell had, so an estimated 80 million was spent on marketing as a whole. Taco Bell spent about 20 million of that.
I got all the cups and the cup holder, but I don't have the figures that you got.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
And as I think Nick could tell you, I still don't have all the Taco Bell toys. I think Nick could tell you this.
Chris, you're holding that, and it's like blurred out.
Yeah,
it's blurred out. Ironic.
Apparently, I'm not taking credit for this because I can't confirm it, but Nick alleges that one of the Taco Bell cups was released too early, and it showed the design like clear as day. Is that true, Nick?
Yeah, that's one of the things I looked into, and that's what's been reported. I don't know. That's from like a guy that was there back in the day. So there were 4 cups. Did you say there's 5 total released?
No, 4 cups. So
4, I think. Yeah.
One Godzilla Goes Sightseeing, which is probably the one you were talking about. Godzilla Hails a Cab. Godzilla Gets a Grip. And Godzilla. Wait,
why do they have names, like specific names?
Godzilla Gets a Grip.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Godzilla puts his foot down. That's the Florida one.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of any leaks at the time. Were you aware of any leaks forever?
I think one of the cups that did. I think I may have got that cup, and I was like, "All right." I think it was. Yeah, I think it was actually.
Well,
so
yeah. I'll let
you want me to tell? Okay.
But I just want to talk about the stamp right after.
Yeah, sure. You can just stamp right. So one of the cups had his whole entire upper body and his claw coming down like this. And it had his spines, and he's kind of got like looks like a smile while he's roaring, and
like a side view, right?
Yeah, it's like a side view. Yeah, so that cup got accidentally released with the other ones at a few Taco Bells, and it wasn't supposed to come out until the week of the movie. Yeah, and I just heard it was like just an employee hiccup, like oh, Godzilla cup, so Godzilla cup, bro. And then like they see the cup and like, what? So yeah, they had that accidentally happened, and then people got to see his design a little too early thanks to Taco Bell and the famous Chihuahua dog. May he rest in peace.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. He passed away what, like 2005?
Oh, poor.
It was like
poor Chihuahua.
Yeah. So anyway, his design actually did leak, I believe, on what's that old site, Godzilla Temple?
Barry's
Temple.
So, which I think Barry, at least he was. I don't know if he still is, but he was also in the Massachusetts area.
No way.
Oh,
no.
Really? What?
I didn't know.
Fuck,
we need to find him.
On.
Yeah.
Wait, can you kick Andrew and Ty off the Zoom? We gotta get Barry. So Barry, back in the day, he obtained a prototype of one of the Godzilla erasers. It's the one of him hugging the Chrysler building. I have it in my display case. But he got an unpainted prototype of it, and he posted it on his website. And Dean Devlin saw it, and he claimed that it's one of the various fake Godzilla designs that they supposedly made and sent to licensees, so that when one of the licensees made a leak, they could know exactly who did it and then pull their license. I actually have a Godzilla magazine that claims the same thing. I have it's an official 1998 like Compendulum magazine, and they claim the same thing. I have a feeling that's not true. Especially in this case. Dean Devlin said that eraser wasn't real. It was the real design. And that leaked before the rest of Godzilla leaked. And I remember reading Barry's blog post about it, and that was like the first indication that like something's wrong. Like this doesn't look like Godzilla. So, it definitely did backfire. I think if they at least like let everyone know that was what it was gonna look like beforehand, maybe less people would be pretty upset about it. But as much as me and Nick, and probably David too, we love Godzilla 1998. We love Patrick Tostopoulos' design. I mean, we don't love the movie, but like we love the character. And Patrick's design is like, honest to God, like beautiful. It's probably like one of the best like kaiju designs ever. It's pretty debatable if it's one of the best Godzilla designs though, because it is.
I'm gonna say you're putting a lot of words in my mouth right now, Chris.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, it's a great design. I don't think anyone's arguing that. It's just it's pretty debatable if it's a good Godzilla design or if it even looks like Godzilla. And for a new mainline Godzilla movie, like this isn't some like weird spin-off anime or something like that, you know what I mean? For like a mainline big budget American movie, I think people were expecting something more in tone with the typical Toho designs.
Yeah, because the last big Godzilla movie that came out in the States would have been Godzilla 1985, which is a more traditional design.
Exactly. So
I believe they did say in interviews, like before the release of the movie, that they were going to have. I know they said in interviews, and I think it was before the movie came out, that they wanted to have a more slim, athletic Godzilla, which sounded fine with me.
Yeah,
but I'm actually glad that they didn't try the same thing with Shin Godzilla. When I first saw like an image of online of Shin Godzilla, it's like it was quite the shock. But it was far enough in advance. I kind of was able to get used to it before I actually saw the movie.
Right.
Mhm.
Well,
I think I think it would have been a bit much if I'd never seen Shin Godzilla until I saw the movie.
I remember I
definitely
got out
still.
of
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, dude.
I remember getting out of the theater, seeing Shin Godzilla, and I specifically remember some guy walking behind me just absolutely trashing the second form when he first comes on shore. He was not happy about that design.
Yeah, but I think I another note I wrote about this though was over 300 companies and licensees were to not reveal Godzilla design, and then Dean Devlin claims there was fake designs, which I think that's bullshit. Yeah, I think bullshit because none of these supposed fake designs have ever leaked. The only one I can think of is, and Keith Aiken talked about this with us. They made a fake Godzilla design for the storyboards of Godzilla the series. That one is documented. That actually did happen. But other than that, I have not seen anything.
And there is an art book. Did you mention that earlier, Chief Forever? There's an
art book out there.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that
I don't think I don't have
concept
it though,
art
but,
or alternatives.
I think Nick has it. Nick has it. Yeah.
The art of Godzilla.
Yes.
I have it. Yes.
Nick's being like detained by like.
It's like yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So so we only have a few mere minutes left, so this is gonna be a bit of a lightning round. Sorry about this, by the way. I was planning on this being like 2 hours, but then the Mario movie, bro, it's gotta happen.
Very important business. Very important.
Of course.
Yes.
Luckily, this is mostly stuff we already talked about on the podcast. Obviously, there's an album that they made with that.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous. But
10 out of 10 album right there.
There was
Joey Deluxe.
There was food items, such as most famously a Hershey's collab, which if you grabbed all the Godzilla stamps or whatever that were inside the Hershey wrappers, you could get like free movie tickets and stuff.
I think I got a flashlight or something.
Yeah. So the flashlight is not a food item, but I'll get to that in a second. But there are the famous Dryers and Eddie's Godzilla vanilla ice cream.
Oh yes, I have it.
You have it?
I still have the container right here. Actually,
it's still frozen.
Oh my!
Still has vanilla.
Still frozen.
We should find.
Still frozen.
Do you think there's a frozen, unmelted, sealed Dryers ice cream?
Absolutely.
Then we have to. We'd have to try it on the podcast.
I think we'd have to go to the hospital if we did, Chris.
Oh my god! Yeah, and it's so funny.
Can we call that episode the forbidden?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It still has some of the remains.
Oh my god, that's disgusting. The render on the side is actually very nice. The picture of Godzilla. I actually really like that one.
Yeah,
and I think that's
awesome.
the only place it was used in either.
That's so cool.
Oh my
god.
It
has the chocolate.
Yeah, I've been looking for that bucket. It's
it's very dusty, but
That's
a good shot of it. That's a good shot. It's like a really good shot of his head too. It's just really dusty.
That purple and green color scheme is an interesting choice.
Yes.
Someone on Facebook shared a piece of merchandise, or I'm not sure if it's even merchandise. I think it was like an employee thing, but it's a piece. It's an item I've never seen before. It's it's a Dryers Eddie's pair of gloves for like the employees. And it has like a little Godzilla claw for each finger, and it makes you look like you have like these ridiculous Godzilla claws. It's
oh my god,
cute! And it's
Chris, you gotta send that at some point.
I think I did a while back. I'm sure they did like some T-shirts too, but that stuff isn't like too well documented. So and then there was like this weird popsicle that was like Godzilla's tongue, and you like make out with Godzilla, and that was pretty
just like Star Wars did the year after.
Yeah, exactly. Jar Jar Binks. And there's another Star Wars Phantom Menace connection we're about to make too. So what did Andrew just say? Oh yeah, the flashlight. So if you bought a pack of Duracell batteries and a VHS, you could get either, I believe, a holographic poster or a Godzilla flashlight. which is Godzilla's mouth with the flashlight beam inside his.
That's pretty cool.
It's so cute.
And it makes the sound too.
Oh,
does
it?
Oh my
very
God.
nice.
It actually
Very nice.
roars. I think I think it roars constantly once you have the light on. I can't remember because I think mine got busted, sadly.
So there's other few things we'll mention. I don't want to go too deep into this because I actually did want to do a whole episode about this. They did a few web games. I think there was about 3 of them, and one or 2 of them is an MMO. And the Hershey said that Duracell dryers. Okay, so another interesting.
I also got a T-shirt where like there's a button, like behind, like a pack, like a recorded button thing on the back, and if you just like press on yourself, it'll roar. Have Godzilla's roar.
You gotta show us that later because I've never even heard of that before. Oh my God, the 90s. So there actually was a Godzilla ride supposedly in development. I've only been able to find like one source for this, and I'm choosing to blindly believe it. So at Carowinds theme park in North Carolina, there was a roller coaster that they were toying, and at the time they were toying with the idea of making it Godzilla 1998 themed. There's no other real details about this. Maybe there's concept art somewhere out there in a vault. I don't know. When that movie bombed,
I could be misremembering, but it was also at one point either planned or actually was a Top Gun themed coaster as well.
So instead of Godzilla, after that movie bombed, they made a Top Gun themed roller coaster. That license eventually expired, and now it's just called Afterburn, which is like this kind of generic plane. It still has like the Top Gun theming. It's just a rename, and you can actually still ride it today.
That's cool.
Nice.
So, Blue Oyster Cult, this isn't necessarily part of the marketing, but it's a response to it. Blue Oyster Cult supposedly made their own version of their own Godzilla song, just dissing Godzilla 98. It's called Nozilla, and it calls out certain parts of their marketing, such as like the Taco Bell Chihuahua stuff. Thing is, I was told about this like 10 years ago by a friend, and the only upload on YouTube is a re-upload from him, and I don't know where he found it. But I know for sure he didn't make it or anything. So I guess apparently Blue Oyster Cult made it. It's an interesting listen though. It's quite funny. It supposedly was made after they refused to use the Godzilla Blue Oyster Cult song for the movie. And one last thing is Phantom Menace, during their marketing, dissed Godzilla 98. They made a poster in like the same Godzilla 98 font that says "Plot does matter," which is fucking hilarious because I think Phantom Menace was actually somehow worse than Godzilla 98.
Yeah.
I love the Phantom Menace, and I will stand by that.
Wow.
So we only have a few mere minutes left before I gotta like get GTFO. So I know this isn't like the way I really want to end this. I kind of want some more time, but I did want to ask you guys, basically go around all 5 of us and ask, what do you remember from marketing and what was your favorite, and do you think that whole campaign was really worth it? Like, I mean, 25 years later, we're still talking about it, which got to mean something. And do you think, like, have you ever even seen like a movie get marketed that hard since? Like, I think this was a pure 90s time capsule.
I think the only thing that even came close to matching that marketing was the Phantom Menace. And that was a year after the movie, and we have not seen anything in the 20 plus years since.
I mean, there's still Pepsi Phantom Menace soda machines
exactly.
just like around. Well,
yeah. You want me to go next?
Oh, of course, Nick.
Okay, cool. So my favorite one, this is one I don't think we have to mention, was some of the Japanese marketing. My first one I got exposed to as a kid was seeing the TV spots and little trailers. Later on, one of the cool ones I found on YouTube was there was a TV spot in America. It was called a Godzilla TV spot 15 on YouTube. And it starts off with a guy throwing his remote. How about a real story, like from the movie? And when it shows Godzilla, they use the Showa roar. Yeah, they don't use just the 98 roar. They use the Showa roar when the title card comes on. And over in Japan, they had a poster they did that we never got in the United States, which is really cool. It's not the Liberty one you're thinking of. It's kind of harder to find. It's one where you see his foot, like you see his legs and he's running. You don't see his upper part of his body. And there's this blue aura behind like where he's running, and there's a bunch of cars, people running and screaming as he's getting ready to like trample them in New York. And it's so cool. Like it's an awesome poster. And then it's got the Godzilla. Yeah, you know which one? You know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I thought you were talking about the Statue of Liberty one at first.
Yeah,
well,
you're gonna have to send it to me.
Okay, yeah, so that one was super cool. They had it in a landscape banner poster you could get. Wow. And so inside the Godzilla 98 theater program, if you have that and you go to near the last page, there's a high quality scan of the poster in it, and it's so cool. Like it really gets you hyped, and I think it was Japanese. This is going to be like a fast-paced Godzilla movie, like this Godzilla runs and all that. So I think that was one of the things they were counting on. Mentioning when you said about Godzilla seeing Godzilla 98 in Japan, though, Chris, and like Japanese didn't like it. One of my friends who lives in Japan told me the story that while they were there and when 98 film came out, expecting Godzilla to be handsome because the Japanese public considers Godzilla very handsome. When they saw the 98 Godzilla, they're like, oh God.
Dude, he's got a gnarly ass jawline though.
Well, no, that's the thing. I asked, I said, was it anything specific? And they said, he's so scrawny. He's got that chin. Like, that was the response.
And then they called the 2014 Godzilla fat when that came out.
I know. I gotta stop shaming.
They said he was too fat. Yeah.
Oh. Anyway.
Actually, going back to the fact that we haven't seen any marketing since, this just popped in my head. I almost think that considering the closest we've gotten was the Phantom Menace, I almost want to say that both those films' marketing campaigns kind of served as a cautionary tale to not put that much money into the marketing campaign for movies that end up being critically not so well received. I mean, obviously they did well financially for the most part, but it just seems to me that because we haven't seen anything like that since, nowhere even close, that's the reason people don't want to do that big marketing campaigns, because they don't want it to just lose money on it.
Godzilla changed everything.
Yeah. It's interesting. Today, I think they've swung too far the other way. I've stopped watching trailers because it seems like trailers more and more are basically just 2-minute versions of the entire movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sort of it's you see the whole movie. They want to show, of course, they want the trailer. They want to convince you to go to the movie, so they'll show you the absolute best part.
Mm-hmm.
But even worse, than showing you the best parts, they will show you the whole story. It's it seems like the beginning, middle, and end. So it's I've just stopped watching trailers. A few times I do watch trailers, I end up regretting it. Because
I'm only forced to watch them at the movie previews. So but
I think it was sort of, if the movie had lived up to the hype, I did enjoy the marketing campaign of emphasizing how big he was. I thought that was kind of cool. But if the movie had matched it, that's fine. But it's like I said, I think it was a mistake to sort of hide it, basically hide so much of the movie, and then it's sort of and even the final trailer that did show a lot of the movie did make it look really exciting, and in the movie itself just didn't live up to that last trailer. So it's a bit of a shame. It's I thought I don't know. It's those filmmakers. I'm not convinced those filmmakers were really up to the task.
Right.
I think Independence Day was pretty. Did end up working out overall, but. But yeah, that's why. Yeah, very glad. Like I think the filmmakers that made Shin Godzilla are much better.
And then Andrew, your final words before I
Yeah,
leave.
so the middle school me, like, back then, like, Godzilla wasn't really popular. Like, you kind of have to hide your love for Godzilla, and that was like a sort of a game changer because Godzilla's name was all over the place. So every time I saw a billboard or I saw like the bus go by with the like the tail or the foot is as long as this, and it was really cool. Like back then, I think the campaign was definitely amazing, and I really wish we can see more of this, of that stuff to this day. But yeah, we don't see that anymore. But I think, as I mentioned, I think that New Year's Eve ad that they had, I think that one was the coolest for me. Like, I'll always remember that. Sadly, it wasn't the movie that I was hoping for, but I still enjoyed all the marketing that went into the film, and it was a pretty cool time, back then.
And that is the end of this No Spaghetti podcast. Well, I got to go see Mario right now. I'm sorry, guys. Thanks for having me. Make sure make sure you follow Luminous on YouTube and also follow the Omega Beast group on Facebook. I appreciate having you guys. Sorry for the shorter episode, but the Mario movie comes first. I'm sorry, guys.
All right.
It's important to have priorities, Chris.
All right, cool. Signing out, guys. Yeah.
All right.